Welcome to the Marketing on the Move podcast, hosted by the Breezy Company, your go-to resource to master your marketing while juggling all of the demands of being a business owner. We understand that your time is a limited resource and marketing might be the last thing on your priority list right now. Our mission is to provide you with tangible insights and actionable tactics into the latest marketing trends, best practices, and strategies that you can implement no matter how busy you are. Each episode is designed to offer practical advice on leveraging your unique business strengths and efficiently managing your marketing strategy. Whether you're tuning in during your morning commute, between meetings, or while on the run, Marketing on the Move is here to empower you with the knowledge and tools you need to excel in marketing, even when your schedule is packed. Join us for a journey into making the most of your marketing efforts, no matter how busy you are. Hey there, welcome back to the Marketing on the Move podcast. My name is Savannah Abney, and I'm a partner and the Chief Content Officer here. I have with me today Steve Soto, our Chief Technology Officer, Josh Webb, our Chief Marketing Officer, and Emily Hunter, our Content Creator Director. Say hello, everyone.
Hello.
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 Okay, you had to be last, didn't you? Way to go, Emily.
Gotta keep it interesting.
One of the major groups that we talk to on a really regular basis, pretty much every single day, are solopreneurs. These could be consultants, coaches, anybody who runs their business, pretty much just them. A lot of times they're selling their brain, their expertise, and maybe a service that is assigned to that. It could be a lot of different spaces and industries, but we deal with this group of people a lot. And we love helping them because they already have so much on their plate in terms of running their business that marketing tends to be the thing they put on the back burner. They know it's really important. They know they should be doing it. They know they should be creating content, but it is so difficult to, spend time doing that when there's so many other fires to put out, so many other things to do, and it's just you by yourself. So we wanted to create a really easy really tactical episode here to talk about the kinds of content you should be focusing on. We think that these are the 5 types of content that will give you the most bang for your buck. So you're actually going to reach your audience most effectively with this kind of content. It's also the easiest way to plan out that content and just make your life a little bit easier around content marketing. You already know social media is kind of the lifeblood of your business if you're a solopreneur. Depending on what platform you're on and kind of who you're trying to target, you already know that and what you're trying to do with it, but making your content process a little more effective, a little more efficient, that's what today is all about. So first, I'm going to turn it over to Emily to talk a little bit about why creating content, if you're not already on the train of understanding why content is so important and could be so valuable to your solopreneur business. Let's share with them a little bit, Emily, about why we believe it's so important and the value we have seen and the results we have seen from solopreneurs investing in content marketing.
Yeah, Emily, tell us. We want to know.
You got it. So I think, first of all, it's so important to consider the fact that the algorithm is going to reward consistency. I think no matter what space you're in, no matter what kind of content you're putting out there, you're going to be rewarded for being consistent. So that's kind of part A. So I think no matter what business, that's the first priority, and to do it well with high quality, of course, but definitely being consistent regardless. But I also think that solopreneurs have a really interesting opportunity because there's, if you work in a larger company, so there's like the organization, the values, the personality, all of the views of the organization, and then there's the views, the personality of individuals. And I think with a solopreneur, you have a really unique opportunity to marry the two because you are the whole business, you are the whole personality. So whatever you are passionate about, you can communicate that in your content. Whatever you're knowledgeable about, whatever you are a thought leader in, you have a really unique opportunity to communicate that in a way that is cohesive across all those different things because they're all you. You are doing all of those things. So for the solopreneurs that we work with, I think the biggest value add is getting their brain out to people. Like, so much about your space, you're operating in it on a daily basis, and just being able to kind of capture that, get your brain down on paper or on the internet or whatever it may be, and putting it out to the world and letting people see that you know what you're talking about and you can offer this service or this product or whatever it may be, and kind of funnel your brain out onto socials in a consistent way, and then you'll be rewarded by the algorithm for doing that. So I just think it's a really unique opportunity.
The one thing that I hear very consistently when it comes to that, I think they know they need to do it, but I think we're talking about a little bit of a generational gap, where a lot of the guys that I know that tend to be solopreneurs, I think they're there's another generation coming up, but these guys, they're really experienced. This is probably an anchor career for them. They may have been an executive for a long time, and now they're coaching, or now they have a business idea they're pursuing outside of their retirement, and they're major networkers. And so what they're used to doing is scheduling 20 meetings. I have a guy that I know that is very much like this, and with the generation I'm from, we scheduled a call with the hospital, and I thought we were going to just talk on the phone with them. No lie, he calls me like 2 days before, and he goes, "Hey, so I booked our ticket. We'll just fly over to Buffalo, New York, and talk to him for a little while, and then I got us coming back that night." We were flying there, and when we got there, we only had a 10-minute meeting with her.
Wow.
And so it's very different in the way, but you got to think about how much time that takes. It probably does deliver a lot of value when you do something like that. So I don't want to take away from what the networking actually does, but the question is, how can you do both? Because there are going to be a lot of people that never can come in contact with you. And the only people that hear the expertise you have, or even the personality that you have, are the people you're coming in contact with live.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And that's one of the few ways that you may have an opportunity to tell someone about what you do, what your niche is. And, a lot of times there's the whole thing of they don't know they have a problem until they hear you talking about it. And then they can say, oh, actually, that would help me out a ton. So I could totally see that.
Yeah.
I see the problem from the other direction oftentimes with the website work. People don't understand how much damage not doing content does to their business. And I recently had a chance to talk to a wonderful gentleman. He's been in business for a very long time, but he hasn't updated his content since 2013. And when you go to the website, it not only looks and feels, but it is actually dated 2013. The last content he posted. And amazing gentleman, tremendous amount of knowledge. Didn't know if he was still in business by looking at his website.
Yeah. Yep, 100%. So we get the content's really critical, whether it's on socials, if it's on your website, if it's in third-party places, depending on your business. But, how do you go about planning that content to be effective and efficient? You don't have a lot of time as a solopreneur. It's probably just you, unless you have some sort of team that you're working with. So how do you go about that? So my kind of guidance for this with solopreneurs is to build out content pillars. Content pillars are just a fancy term for categories. These are the types of content you're going to build out every single month, on and on and on throughout the year, every single month. And every single business is going to have a little bit different kind of type of pillar, depending on the voice, the feel, the actual service or product. Like all that's going to change. But for most solopreneurs, these 5 categories are a great place to start. Educational. So these are actual facts, figures, actual information people could go find, but don't have time to, and you present it to them, so that creates value. Thought leadership, which is your actual take on different topics in your industry, in your space. This is beyond education. So this is not just so education is something that Breezy would say is, content marketing costs 62% less than traditional marketing. Fact. That's an actual fact. But then we might give a little bit more, context to it and talk about why we believe in it so much and our experience in working in content marketing. That now becomes thought leadership. That's kind of that next sort of phase. Your third piece would be client-focused content. So we're talking about testimonials. We're talking about client success stories, things you have learned from clients. We're currently doing a little series with one of our, it's actually a full business. It's not a solopreneur, but it's a very out front founder. And doing a little series with what he's learned from his clients over the years of doing his business. So that's kind of the one that I think is kind of the third most important. Third-party articles or third-party pieces, so that you can draw likeness between your business and other well-known businesses. So when you share really great articles from Things that are more off the beaten path are definitely better. If you just share Forbes articles and Inc. articles and things like that, that's fine, but it's obviously not going to be as valuable, because if you show third-party articles that are interesting and have different information in them, it's like, ooh, they're a really good source. They can go find good stuff. Let me follow them so I don't have to go look for all this stuff. So I think that's kind of the fourth piece. And then the fifth piece, and this depends on your business and your tone and your style for sure, but just fun and engaging content. Engaging could be a poll. It could be something they actually have to interact with, or it could be if you have a light, humorous brand, maybe you do Meme Monday, different things like that. So those are the 5 kind of places that I like for people to start. I think it makes it really effective and efficient for planning.
Well, and what you were talking about before about sharing other articles, I know that what you've seen is that you might take an article that's really interesting and then give our take on it. But on top of that, it really helps from a backlinking standpoint. So if you're an SEO type person, or if you're trying to build more SEO, the more times that you can say, hey, here's somebody that I could probably get in touch with the person who wrote this, or the editor, or even this person that blogged, and then say, hey, we wrote about this and we added some information to it. Would you consider sharing our content, or at least putting it at the bottom? The more times you do that, that's called backlinking. That's called domain authority, and that's how your rankings go up. Because believe it or not, it's not just about following a couple rules. Google is getting to where it's really good at finding very valuable content, and it does it through things like a domain authority and backlinking and things like that.
Yeah. So a lot of these categories are all 5 of these categories of content definitely work on social, no doubt about it. But Steve, can you talk a little bit about why the educational piece, educational/thought leadership, both of those would fall in this category, why having that type of blog content on your website and consistently posting that on a monthly basis? You kind of alluded to it a little bit from like a freshness standpoint and just looking alive, like we're actually in business. But can you talk about maybe a little bit more of the technical side of why that's important, and maybe just the brand authority piece too?
Definitely, if you're in any form of consulting, and that doesn't necessarily need to be, I write a report consulting. It could be I write code consulting. It could be I create beautiful pictures consulting. You need to have some currency, and I don't mean cash. I mean the topics that you speak of need to be current, because you could be brilliant at doing something, but if it's considered archaic by the audience that's coming to look at it, then they're not going to be interested in you. But they assume, maybe even wrongfully so, if you're talking about current events, then you've got a knowledge of past events as well. It's not just, it's like, okay, he knows about the latest widget. Well, he must know about the old widgets because he's talking about the latest widgets.
Right.
So it gives you that kind of shield of, I'm an expert simply because I took the time to speak on a topic or write on a topic. I mean, it's it's great for solopreneurs that are trying to fake it while they make it. Also, it gives them things to talk about with their customers or potential customers that over that educational piece.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Most entrepreneurs are faking it until they make it. Because as soon as they made it, something else happens, and all of a sudden they have to fake it again.
This is true.
I think all of these kind of boil down to, you want to work with somebody who is constantly learning and growing, because you feel like if the person I'm working with is constantly learning and growing and trying to figure out what the new trends are, the new topics, they are constantly evolving. It makes you feel like you're getting to work with the best, and they're going to keep finding the right answers, the right solutions. They're going to help you fix your problem. This is a very old school form of marketing, but it still works. I think about like when I go to the hair salon and I sit down and my stylist talks about how I just went to this continuing education class to learn this and this. Like, she's doing word of mouth marketing, but that works on me because I'm like, oh, it makes me feel better. Like, she's going and like always kind of learning new things. So I feel like I'm in better hands because she's constantly trying to get better herself. I think all content marketing is like, especially for solopreneurs, is displaying that digitally over and over again to just build that credibility, that authority, and that trust.
It's really funny that you brought up hair salon, because I have a different example, but it was something that I was thinking the other day. So when we were, I take all my kids to the same barber shop or whatever, and they have different people, and some of them are younger, and some of them are a little bit older. But there are some that are like stylish older people, and there are some that are like that have like, I don't know, just like life took over and they just like didn't even comb their hair that day, and they just didn't do anything. And you start to forget the fact that they're not even allowed to do hair there unless they have certain certifications, unless they can actually do certain hairstyles. Yet you assume, like, I looked at my son, and he goes, hey, can I get that lady over there? And when I looked at her, she was the only one that had done her hair that day. So, I mean, it's really important where you're taking care of some brand assumptions. That was that person's brand. The other people's brand was, they apparently don't know how to do hair, and have a disheveled, persona about themselves. But that one person was probably getting, at least he got, they got most, the kids that care about how their hair was cut that day. They got those.
Yeah, the whole like, don't judge a book by its cover. Yeah. It's great in theory, but everybody does. Like, everybody does.
Yeah. They never said that people don't judge a book by a cover.
Yeah,
they were telling people not to.
Don't do it. So you have to understand that your brand as a solopreneur, your business, your consultancy, whatever it is, like, it will be judged by your social presence. Also understand that the older you get as a solopreneur, the younger your audience probably is going to get. I was just having this conversation with somebody yesterday, and I mentioned, well, you're probably trying to target millennials and Gen Z. And he was like, no, I don't want newbies. And I was like, you understand, like, a 40-year-old is a millennial. Like, you kind of have this idea when you're older, like, that these generations are so young. And I'm like, this person's like 40 years old. And they're in that generation. So really understanding, like, actually where people are at from an age demographic standpoint, how they're finding you, who you're reaching, what they're actually doing online. I think all these things kind of factor into it. But really important from a solopreneur standpoint to be consistent with content. I think this makes it really easy. So we actually have this entire concept we've been talking about in this episode broken down in a blog post on our site. So we will include that link in the show notes for you to check out. Either that'll be on YouTube or it'll be on whatever podcast platform you're listening on, so you can check it out there. And we hope it's really helpful for you. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks a lot.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Marketing on the Move. If you're looking for more ways to improve your marketing and build a scalable system to help your business grow, check out thebreezycompany.co or any of the resources linked in today's show notes.